Hey guys, welcome to Flip the Deck Tarot. Today's pick a card reading is going to be all about the big changes and major shifts that are going to be entering your life in the near future. So we're going to look at how you may be changing and evolving as a person, maybe new experiences or new people that you might be welcoming into your life in the near future. So I have 4 readings for you to choose from today. We do have crystals to pick with today. So for reading number 1, we have this really pretty lemon quartz. This is actually a double terminated stone here. For reading number 2, we have this malachite. For reading number 3, we have an amazonite heart. See if we can get it to focus a little better. And for reading number 4, we have this Veracruz amethyst. So as always, take as much time as you need to pause the video and maybe pause on the close-ups of the stones if you want to take a closer look. I will have your timestamps down below in the description box. Feel free to pick as many readings as you feel called to. There might be a message for you in more than one of these piles. So I'm going to hop in with reading number 1 and I will see you in your reading. Hi, number 1, if you picked the lemon quartz, this is going to be your reading. We're going to find out what big changes and shifts are going to be coming into your life. So let's just go ahead and hop into your oracle cards. I have 4 cards here, and this is going to kind of give us the energy of what shifts are coming into your life, what changes you can expect in your life in the near future. So let's see. The first card we have is the Self. Wow, I'm already picking up on like a ton of self-discovery for you. We'll have to look and see what else we get, but yeah. We have the Shadow. The River. And your final card is the Mask. Okay. Definitely that feeling that came through with the Self card. This card can have a lot of different meanings, but in this context, I really think that there's a lot of discovery going on for you. I think that this is kind of a period of your life where you're not only learning a lot about yourself, but I think that maybe for the first time ever, you're accepting a lot about yourself. I think you're learning to truly love yourself and to value yourself and really kind of pinpointing and honing in on those special skills, those special gifts, special insights that are yours and yours alone. This also gives me the energy of someone who's learning to put themselves first a little bit more. So I think that you're probably a very giving person, and you're probably somebody that's always looking out for those around you. But it feels to me like you're pouring a little bit more energy back into yourself now, and this is going to be a big shift for you. And I think the biggest thing that you're going to notice is how much more energized you feel and how much more you can accomplish in terms of the goals and the personal achievements that you've set out for when you're pouring more of that energy back into yourself. So in this card, I'm just kind of drawn to this little like pearl that's kind of in the center, and this is kind of between, for me, kind of between the heart space and the throat, but it feels a lot like this is about really nurturing something that's inside of you. This can be about speaking more of your truth as well, and it can be about honoring your heart. So I'm really picking up on a lot of throat chakra, a lot of heart chakra energy, and for me, there's a connection there. Like there's a connection between feeling what really resonates true for you and what is uniquely yours, and then also expressing it. So you might be entering a period of more self-expression. And I really like how in this picture, it really looks like a pearl. I think it's meant to be a pearl, but it definitely looks like a pearl to me. And a pearl is something that is precious. It's something that takes a while to form. And it kind of feels like that's what's going on with you. Like it might have taken you a while to get to this place. It might have taken you a while to be formed into this beautiful pearl. But it's like not only are you realizing this aspect of yourself, but you're also really able to nurture it and to express it. So I think this is a gigantic shift for you. And I'm just curious, like, what you're going to be able to do once you are knowing yourself on this deep level and accepting yourself on this deep level, like how much more you can achieve and accomplish. I think that for a lot of you, you may have been in a period prior to this new energy that's coming in where there were pieces of you that you kind of neglected, or there were pieces of you that you pushed away. Maybe things that didn't seem to fit, maybe things that you didn't think fit in with the rest of, it could be society as a whole, it could be with your family, with your partner. There could just be pieces of you that it feels like they got kind of shoved away into a dark corner. And this feels like a real journey of self-discovery where you're pulling that stuff back out. We have the shadow here. So the shadow is about looking in those dark places, looking in those almost like, sometimes they can be scary places, but it's like, I like to think of them as like places that are unvisited. So it doesn't necessarily have to scare you, but I feel like there's a certain amount of anxiety that kind of builds when something is unknown. So if you think of yourself as, let's say, like this big mansion, and maybe this mansion is just too huge for you to ever explore. Like you could never regularly hang out in all of the rooms of this place. This is kind of like sometimes what I see the self as. There's all of these nooks and crannies, and it's hard to really spend time to focus, to take care of all of these aspects of ourselves. So if we're back to the mansion analogy, if you're in this huge mansion, there might be rooms that really collect a lot of dust, and rooms that the longer you don't kind of venture into them, the more anxiety might build about what's behind that door. And I feel like that's what happens with our shadow. Like sometimes it's not things that we're necessarily too afraid to look at, but it can be parts of ourselves that we have kept hidden away for so long that there is kind of a little bit of anxiety. Like it might not be full on fear, but it can be like, oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if I open that door, I'm not really sure what I might find. This feels to me like you're entering a place where you're okay with seeing what's behind the door. You're okay with finding out what's going on with you, maybe in some of these places that you were a little bit nervous to look before. This also to me is about expressing some of these shadow aspects of ourselves. So it can be maybe some of our darker thoughts, or it can also be some of our thoughts that don't fall in line with the general view. So sometimes these can become shadow aspects of our personality just because they don't fit in. So it's something that we kind of shove away, or something that we keep out of the light. We kind of keep them hidden for ourselves. So I think you're looking at yourself from all angles, and not even being afraid to find what's there, what's hidden away in that room, which is really brave. And I think it's going to improve your journey, your self-discovery journey a lot when you start looking into some of these shadow aspects of yourself. Something that's interesting with this idea of the shadow can always lead us to places of ourselves that we reject, and we can often reject areas of ourselves, parts of ourselves. We can reject these things because we felt that they were rejected by somebody who was close to us. So these can be things that you hid away because it didn't seem to be accepted or acceptable to those around you. But I think what we find when we start looking closer at these parts of ourselves that we are not letting out to play, I kind of want to say, is that when we're in this spirit of rejecting parts of ourselves, we also are rejecting parts of the greater whole, because we are a part of the greater whole. So sometimes we can push these things aside so that we can fit in a little bit better. But I think in the end, we discover that we're creating a separation between us and the whole, us and the world, us and that universal force, which actually causes more separation. So I'm picking up on for you that this journey of self-discovery is also putting you in a place that is letting you be a lot more connected to the world as a whole. Because as you kind of dig deeper and you find all of these parts of yourself that are more hidden, maybe they're beautiful, you know, like, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but as you discover these new areas of yourself, you can also connect with people a lot better because you can understand parts of them that you weren't able to understand before, because you've seen a little bit of that in yourself and you've accepted that in yourself. So I think that it's really important that we don't always look at the shadow as something that's bad. The shadow is more aptly described, I think, as something that's neglected a lot of the time. It's not necessarily bad. Like one of those rooms in the giant mansion could be the most beautiful room, the most comfortable room, the best room with the best view, but it could just be neglected, and it could just be that, you know, like you need to clean it up a little bit, but it really could be one of the most beautiful parts of that gigantic house. And just like with you, some of these shadow aspects or these parts of you that you've pushed away, they might be the most beautiful parts of yourself. So you are in the process of discovering these beautiful parts of yourself and really giving them some airtime, like really, really letting them out. And I think moving into a place where you feel more comfortable sharing these things. I think it all starts with the self though. So first you're going to share some of this stuff with yourself and then it will probably filter out to things that you can share with other people. Yeah, I feel like a lot of you might be coming out of a period of isolation in a way, and this could just be the energy of the shadow, like bringing these shadow aspects out of isolation. But if you have felt isolated as a whole, like if you've just felt like you aren't socializing as much as you would want to, maybe you're not forming the connections that you would want to, or some of your relationships and some of the connections that are important to you have fallen away, I think that this is really a time that you're going to start welcoming some of this back in. And it really starts with self-acceptance. Like, it's so much easier for us to interact with other people when we fully accept ourselves, because we're happy to share like the journey that we're on. We will share where we are in life and what we're excited about. But when we are hiding away, it's really hard to form these deep connections. So I see some beautiful connections coming into your life as you kind of blossom and as you... I'm drawn back to this pearl. So it's almost like as this pearl is sort of emerging from beneath the surface, it's something that you can more easily offer out into the world, whatever that means to you. This could be something that you want to give to the world, something you want to produce, or this can be you offering your authentic self to form really deep bonds, friendships, connections, maybe even deepen existing bonds like family bonds. I do feel like there's also an energy with this River card. There's kind of an energy of releasing a lot of judgment and not suppressing yourself. So I know a lot of us just carry around shame. Sometimes we know where that shame came from, and sometimes we're not even sure, but this feels like a real cleansing energy and like releasing a lot of guilt or shame, releasing a lot of the reasons that you may have come up with in the past for not fully expressing yourself. And this can also be about oppression from an outside force lifting. So if you've had anything in your life or any person in your life that's felt like it kind of holds you back or holds you down, and this doesn't have to be a person, this can be really as simple as a job that holds you down, that doesn't allow you to express, that doesn't allow you to be the creative soul that you are, where you feel like you're being kind of smothered, or it's really the energy of like not thriving. It's like the energy of a plant in a dark room. That can be really oppressive energy. A plant needs light. And there's sort of this feeling with this energy of like, if there's something in your life that has felt like it's this dark cloud kind of hanging over you, kind of keeping you from finding that thriving energy, that's something that's going to be removed from your life. And I want to say that it's almost like you're entering a period of self-observation, which is really interesting because I think that what you're doing a lot is like you're just noticing yourself. You're just noticing how you feel about certain things, and you're coming to terms with it in a way. Like you're just watching, like without judgment. And this might be the first time that you're able to do that, to watch just who you are and who you're becoming, and to not have any shame or judgment attached to that. It's just a simple observation. Yeah. This feels like really beautiful energy, and almost like you're lifting up out of something that was holding you back and kind of holding you down for a while. It feels like you're getting to be the real you for maybe the first time. If not the very first time, maybe the first time in a long time. Like or maybe you knowing yourself on a deeper level to where now it feels that you can be authentic because you actually know how you want to authentically show up in the world. This mask card, I can interpret this a lot of different ways in this scenario. So this can mean that this was kind of like the mask that you may have been wearing to cover up. Like you could almost think of this mask as something that goes over the shadow. And maybe this is the you that you've presented to the world to kind of hide this part, to hide parts of yourself that you didn't feel comfortable letting out. So this could be about you dropping that mask and really stepping into an authentic place and not wearing that mask anymore. But what's really interesting about this card is that the message that this card brings is it actually asks us to contemplate the possibility that the mask might actually permit or like aid our true identity in being revealed. So you can think about the mask in two totally different ways. The mask can either hide and conceal the true you, or the mask can actually allow you to express yourself. It kind of challenges us to explore the idea that the mask can give a voice to a part of us that was previously rejected or that was hidden away. So let's see, the most basic, let me try to think of a really simple example because it's actually kind of a strange concept, but let's say, just to keep it in terms of like a mask, like let's say a person that when they wear like a full face of makeup and they feel really confident when they have their makeup done in a particular way, and it doesn't even have to be a full face of makeup. It could be that they like to do their eyeliner in a particular way and they feel really confident and they feel like they look really good when they have that eye makeup on. And when they go out into the world, they're able to exude confidence. They're able to like kind of tap into that part of them that is really confident, that feels really confident. And it's like that mask allows them to do that. So you have to kind of take that as it resonates. And maybe this is a call for you to explore different ways that you can use this mask. If the mask has been something that's been covering up and hiding the true you, then this is kind of a message that that mask is falling away, and that the true you is going to be able to shine through. But if it's that you need a little bit of a boost in certain areas, and this is a call for you to find ways that you can develop more confidence or more self-esteem, certain things that kind of bolster all of that for you. And you might already be figuring that out. That could be why this message is coming out, because there might be certain things in your life that you're like, you know what, I figured out if I have this certain mindset when I go into this situation, I can do a lot better and I'm a lot more confident. Or if I make sure that I'm wearing these particular jeans that I feel really good in, then things really go my way. So it really could be taken, both ways, and really both messages might be applicable to you. It might not be one or the other. It could be that you can use the idea of the mask in certain scenarios to help you and to actually help you feel more yourself and be more yourself and present the version of you that you want to present in the world. And it can also be that you can drop it sometimes and you can just let the true you shine. So yeah, take that, definitely take that one as it resonates. Yeah, I think that the main thing is, like, when this mask card shows up, it's really a call to put whatever part of you that's seeking to be expressed into action and into motion, and let that side of you out. So if the mask holds that part back, let the mask go. If the mask helps that part to shine through, then utilize it. That's kind of the message there. So for some reason, and it might be all this talk of the mask or something, but for some reason, for this group, I get like actor or actress vibes a lot. If that's something that you've been pursuing, maybe it's something you've been a little bit afraid of. This would be a message and confirmation for you that you are good enough, and that you should let that side of you come out and you should share it with the world. So, of course, this could extend past acting, but that message was coming through for someone. So I wanted to say it because, yeah, because it's coming through so strong. And if you are not in that sort of field, if you don't feel that calling towards some kind of performance, then really you can still use the analogy to help you understand the message and how to apply it to your life. Because if the person in question, we'll say this self, if this self is truly an actor or an actress and truly wants to perform, then putting on this mask and portraying a certain character is that person stepping into their truest identity, because they want to be a performer and they want to convey a message through this art form. So in that case, the mask really helps their true self to come out. And if you can just apply that to your situation, then you'll kind of see what I mean, that the mask is, I feel almost like it's a double-edged sword. I feel like the imagery on this card is very appropriate, and I'm kind of seeing it in a different way as the messages for this reading come through. Because on one side, we have this kind of like more brightly colored scenario, and we see half of the mask, and on the other side we have complete darkness. So it's like there are two parts of the mask. There's a kind of a light side and a dark side to this mask. And I think in general, that's what you're discovering about yourself. There's a light side and a dark side to you. There are shadow aspects of your personality, and there are bright, sunny parts of your personality. And putting those together as a whole is where you're really going to shine, because every part of you is deserving of being expressed to the world. Every part of you is valuable. Even some of the parts that you may have tried to not express in the past. That's actually a lot of messages from your first card. So we can jump into the tarot. What I do want to just reiterate here is that this is really kind of overwhelmingly about self-acceptance, and it's about leaving behind some of the stuff that's no longer necessary in our lives. It's truly accepting ourselves, accepting the good, accepting the bad, accepting even past mistakes that we've made, and being able to move forward and being able to integrate all of that into the self and just the person that we are becoming. So it's actually a pretty big journey that you're on. You're probably already on this journey a little bit. I'd be surprised if you didn't have any indication of any of this happening in you, because this feels like a transformation that can kind of slowly work its way into your life. But I think you're approaching a time when you can really start to implement some of this stuff because of the way these messages are showing up for you. So let's see what else we can pull out of this from the tarot. So what messages do you have for Number 1, what big changes? Okay, your card went onto the floor. Let me grab it. Okay, we have the 5 of Cups. So I'm just going to put that right there. Yeah, okay. Let's see what else. The 6 of Wands. I love to see the 6 of Wands, especially in a reading like this, because sometimes some of this deep transformative work can seem like it could be never ending and you don't know when you're going to reach the end of this journey and when you're going to finally arrive. And of course, self-improvement, discovery, and growth is going to be a lifelong mission, a lifelong journey. But we do like to reach some level of achievement when it comes to these things and know that we're on the right track. Okay, we have the Spirit of Pentacles. That's King of Pentacles energy. And we'll get one more card. Okay. All right. With this 5 of Cups energy, I feel like a lot of you could be putting or have put a lot of pressure on yourself about how things have worked out for you in the past. Some of you could have been filled with a lot of regret about things that did not pan out the way that you wanted them to. And it's like you've been holding on to a lot of guilt over this. So we were looking at that kind of with the River card. There's a feeling of being washed clean with the River card, of a lot of acceptance and kind of just purifying the energy around things. So this, I feel like for a lot of you, this guilt could be in like maybe worrying about decisions that you made before, worrying that you might have made the wrong decision somewhere along the road, or worrying that you won't succeed at something. And I feel like you're moving to a place where you can release all of this, because we're holding on to, I feel like when we hold on to a lot of this, a lot of these negative emotions, and we relive the past, that we're kind of beating ourselves up and being so incredibly hard on ourselves. And that's how a lot of this stuff gets shoved over into like more of these shadow aspects, because they get shoved over into the dark because they're uncomfortable. They're things that we don't want to look at. This feels like a lot of progress to me, because the way this 5 of Cups came out with the Self, I just see that there was like a strong association in the past with worry and maybe guilt and shame over things that happened before. So it's almost like you felt tethered to some past decisions that you made or some things that didn't work out. And it's like you carry that around with you, thinking that, oh, I should have done this, I should have said that, I should have handled this differently. I regret not making that choice, or not going. It could literally be anything. It could be, I didn't go to school and I regret that. I should have continued my studies. And you kind of just carry that guilt around with you. Or I might not succeed at this. I might not be good enough. I might not have what it takes. And always kind of having those thoughts. But this is kind of the energy of you releasing that. So this would be kind of separating the self from all of these past circumstances and realizing that none of that defines you. Decisions that you could have made in the past and didn't, maybe mistakes that you did make or things that you view as a mistake, things that didn't work out, like it doesn't define you, and it certainly doesn't mean that you're going to continue to experience these things in the future. And the best way to not experience these things is to separate yourself from the association of some kind of lack or some type of feeling of not being worthy or not being good enough. So you're really moving out of that energy and focusing more on this pearl that you have inside of you, focusing more on what's growing inside of you and what's beautiful inside of you, and how everything that has led you to this place has been perfect. Like, it has all contributed to the formation of this pearl. It's all been perfect. And I think you're starting to see that as you explore your own identity a little bit more. Like I was saying when I was shuffling, like the Six of Wands is, I love to see this card, especially in a scenario like this, because this shows me that any work that you're doing to release past guilt, past shame, past trauma, just even hurtful memories that can kind of plague you, negative scenarios that replay and replay and replay on your mind. This is like getting victory over that and finding success. So I know that you're going to come out of this, and that you are going to find a place where you feel really comfortable in your own skin. You may have already reached this place because you are having the Six of Wands victory here. I think that the time that you have spent self-reflecting, I think all of that is going to turn out to be very, very beneficial for you. So if there has been kind of this dark period, this period where you have been more into the shadow aspects, into the reflecting on everything that's happened in your life, or what's going on right now in your life, it's going to turn out that these things are actually really beneficial, and that time that you spent, you're going to be able to use in a very positive direction. Because it's reflection and getting in touch with your shadow side and kind of confronting a lot of these demons and a lot of this regret or past hurt, it's really going to bring you to a place of victory. It's going to bring you right into that Six of Wands energy. So none of that time is wasted. And it's also, it's not meant to be negative. It should not be viewed as negative any time that you've spent kind of discovering yourself. I think that this is what you're able to offer to the world now, and you're able to do it way more confidently because you've spent the time to look in all of the corners and to find out everything there is to know about yourself. We have the Spirit of Pentacles here. So some of the self-expression that you're learning about and the self-acceptance could be tied to your place in the world. It could be tied to your success and your abundance in the world. Maybe some of the worry or the anxiety about not being able to be enough has to do with your ability to provide for yourself or to create some sort of stability for yourself. And this is really saying that learning to love yourself and honoring yourself, and pretty much everything that you have to bring to the world, learning to honor that, that's really going to create a lot of material abundance in your life. So this is kind of, this makes me think of somebody who maybe doesn't take a very straight path toward their goal. You might be a person that has felt like you've wandered a little bit, and maybe it wasn't like so clear cut. It definitely wasn't a cookie cutter journey, but it feels like you reached this really abundant place through maybe like going off the beaten path a little bit, maybe not doing exactly what was expected of you, or even exactly what you expected yourself to do. And you're able to kind of look back on it and think, well, this really developed me into this person. Or you can see how you wouldn't be on the particular journey that you're on. Maybe you wouldn't even be in the field that you're in if you hadn't sort of deviated from this path. So it's like a winding road that leads you to where you're really supposed to be. I think that for some of you, this is about a passion that you would really like to pursue. This would be something that you feel really deep in your soul and that you feel really truly calls to you and expresses some true part of yourself. So you would know if it's this passionate force that you feel. The Spirit of Pentacles really represents final fulfillment when it comes to something creative, when it comes to a business venture as well. So this could have something to do with a big investment. This could also be an indication that some investment that you've made is going to pay off in the near future. And I also see this as the energy of you kind of like getting a hold of your finances, like getting on top of your finances, whether that means making a lot more money, because it certainly could mean that. It could be learning how to invest, or learning how to manage your money better. So that could be a huge change that's coming for you. It's, this Eight of Swords energy is all about self-limiting beliefs. So, I feel like with your Five of Cups and your Eight of Swords, this is kind of this energy of like not necessarily knowing if you can always believe in yourself, and you're totally moving past that. I can't think of a stronger card for you than the Spirit of Pentacles when it comes to this, especially if your concerns or your doubts have any root in material abundance, or being able to provide, or having a stable foundation. This is like you're releasing these limiting beliefs, and you're finding out that you can do a whole lot more than you realized. You can utilize this mask to your advantage. You can use it to help you succeed. I think that for a lot of us, these limiting beliefs can be the things that we tell ourselves that really just aren't true. And I think as you start to discover yourself, this pearl here is the truth. Like, this is the true essence of you. And these Eight of Swords beliefs are a lie. And in a lot of ways, that's kind of like I was talking about the double-edged sword of the mask. The mask can be the truth, or the mask can be a lie. And you are the one that can decide that for yourself. You know that for yourself. It's important for us to remember that there's really only one of us. Only one of us has been created. There's only one of you. So if you don't step into the role of being that true self and being that person that you were meant to be, then no one else will do it, and no one else can do it. So let's see what messages there are for you. Oh, okay. I had two cards come out. Let's see. So we have endless possibilities. That's so appropriate. And the land between. Endless possibilities. When you embrace your true self, as you are doing, the possibilities are really endless. It's such a beautiful sign for you. And this is really saying that when you start believing in yourself, and when you start accepting yourself, the sky is the limit. There's really no limit to what you can achieve. Your guides are acknowledging that this transition isn't a piece of cake. Like, it's not, like, none of this is to say that this is easy, and this is probably a journey that you're already on, so you know that it's not necessarily always the easiest thing, but it is a beautiful thing, and it's a necessary thing. Really, that message is coming through even stronger with this land between. So the land between card is all about being in this state of almost limbo. So it's about journeying from what was to what is becoming. And I think that's kind of the phase that most of you are in. You're in this in-between time where you have released a lot of this baggage from your past, and where you're releasing some of these false masks that you may have worn. But you might not be quite into the brand new energy yet. So you can't quite settle into it, but you know that you're going there. You know where you're headed. And it can be a little bit of an awkward spot. It can be hard to make that transition, and certainly hard to stay with it, because it's so easy for us to want to run right back. And I feel like in your case, it would be like running back into the shadow. Just want to run right back to what's familiar and what's comfortable, but we have to get more comfortable in that in-between space. We have to get more comfortable in the journey of becoming, in that transition phase. So that's definitely a little bit of encouragement from your guides that, like, you're okay. Even if you feel like the transition can be really difficult sometimes, and like you might be losing your mind sometimes, you're okay, and you are headed toward where you want to go. So I pulled a few advice cards for you. You had 3 cards come out, so let's see what kind of advice your guides had for you when it comes to these changes that are coming into your life. So we have create. Some of you may be creative souls, and there might be some kind of art form that you want to explore, and this is really encouragement to do that. I think as you're tapping into your true self, creativity is something that's just going to come really naturally to you, and you're going to want to express yourself. You first, yeah. That's kind of that energy of the self. This is about putting yourself first, putting your true self first, and time to process. Yeah, I think a lot of you might need some time to kind of process all of this and process this transition, but I really was picking up on the fact that a lot of you have taken this time to process, and that's that shadow work that that we were discussing. It has taken time for you to get to this place, but you're kind of processing and integrating everything you're learning about yourself and putting it together in this beautiful way. And I do think that a lot of creativity is going to pour from you when you really tap into this pearl energy here. Endless possibilities are waiting for you. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap up the reading there. Thank you so much for joining me, hanging out with me, letting me read your cards. If you liked this reading, don't forget to like it, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you feel like it. And hopefully I will see you again in another reading really soon. Bye. Hi, number 2, if you picked the Malachite, this is going to be your reading. We are going to find out what big changes and major shifts are coming into your life in the near future. So let's go ahead and jump in with your oracle cards and get an idea of what the energies are around the areas of your life that are going to change. I have 4 cards here for you, and these are going to point us in the right direction. So let's see. We have the Creator. If you identify as a creative soul, this is a lot about the creations that you want to put out into the world, how you want to express yourself, maybe some art that you want to do, or some other kind of form of expression. So this is about that kind of energy. We also have, which way does this card go? We also have Apocalypsis. This is kind of a disorienting card. So that might be some indication about the energy that's present here, or maybe some confusion that you have experienced. Maybe you'll get some clarity about some confusion. We also have the Fault Line. And finally, the Poet. Okay. So, wow. I think that for you, the changes that are headed your way are going to be huge. Whatever they are, it's going to be huge. So hopefully you are looking for big shifts and big changes in your life, because I can't lie, when I look at this energy, it feels like something really big is going to be changing for you. Let me move these down. I had them a little bit too high up. Yeah. With this Apocalypsis card and this Fault Line card, it's really clear that major shifts and changes are coming into your life. And I have to be honest with you and let you know that whenever we have changes this massive take place in our lives, there is kind of a feeling of instability, maybe even discomfort that is inherent with this sort of change. And that's not because the changes that are coming into your life are bad. It's just that it can be a lot all at once. I am kind of getting the feeling for a lot of you that these are changes that you've probably wished and hoped for. But if there was any part of you that kind of held back a little bit, because even though you wished and hoped to create these changes, there's a part of it that kind of freaked you out a little bit. It was a little bit scary at the same time. It's like these things are now starting to unfold. So yeah, it might feel like a little bit of a shakeup to your foundation, and that's just to say that it's going to be a shakeup to what you're used to. And if you were hoping for changes in your life, then you don't really want more of what you're used to, because more of what you're used to is just more of the same, and you want something new and different in your life. But yes, if there is kind of an element of being a little bit uncomfortable as these changes kind of implement into your life, that wouldn't be surprising to me, because it does feel like it's quite big. It kind of looks like the kind of change that's actually like it could be classified as giving birth to a brand new version of yourself. Um, yeah, with this creator energy, and that's sort of, I think that might be the perfect analogy for you. So if you are kind of in this space of giving birth to a brand new version of yourself, of course it's beautiful, and it may be something that you've waited for. The same as a baby being born. Like, babies are beautiful, wonderful little blessings, and their parents wait to welcome them into the world, but we can't deny that the process of birthing that baby can be a little uncomfortable for mama and for baby. So there's a little bit of discomfort inherent in this, but it's also the most beautiful process that could possibly happen. Bringing new life and bringing in this new version of yourself is a really beautiful process. Along with that analogy, I mean, I do have to say, for some of you, some of this big change that could be coming into your life could be welcoming a new baby. You'll kind of know if you're in that boat, if you are expecting a little one, but that could be energy that I'm picking up on for all of the future parents out there. And as you can imagine, welcoming a new human into this world can create a lot of massive change, and can kind of throw you into a whole bunch of new life experiences. So for some of you, that may resonate, and that might be something that you are on the journey to. You might be on the journey to becoming a parent. You might have just had the idea and the inclination and the desire, and this could be a sign that some of your hopes and dreams in that area will be coming true in the near future. So if that's something you've looked forward to, that's definitely confirmation for you. But the bottom line here is that you've felt a lot. You've felt this change coming for a long time. I think that this is something that you've sensed. This fault line card is sort of, it's a card of impending change, and you can kind of see the evidence of the impending change. So imagine, like, if this fault line was the ice on like a frozen lake or something, and it started to crack in this way, you would know that, like, eventually this ice is going to break. If you were standing there, you would know you're going to fall through eventually, because you're seeing the signs, you're seeing the cracks, you're seeing that change is coming. And I think that for a lot of you, there has been kind of a sense that change is coming in your life, and you might even have this feeling of anticipation to figure out what that change is, or there might be particular areas of your life that you are really looking to create a change in, and you might be even a little bit anxious. It's like being nervous and excited at the same time is kind of the energy that I'm picking up on. I feel like for some of you, this might be change that you felt a little fearful about, maybe even something that you tried to prevent from happening. Yeah, it kind of feels like there is something like you might have wanted to hold back or something. Maybe a little bit of nervousness around this change. If that is the case, that feels kind of like a self-sabotage energy. because I think that the change that's coming into your life, although it is massive, is really for your highest good. So anything that you might have done to try to prevent this change is really not helping you to evolve into the person that you want to become. And I think that deep down you know that. I think that every now and then the fear can creep up, and it can feel like it would be safer to stay the same. It would be a lot more comfortable to stay the same, but there's something kind of pushing you towards making some changes or allowing change to enter your life. Yeah, I really do get the feeling that there has been indications of this change, or some sort of inkling that you've felt. It could be that you've been kind of pulled in a certain direction, or you've heard the call about something, and maybe you felt like you wanted to ignore it. But I think that, like, if you are hearing the call when it comes to a certain aspect of your life, like when you just have that inkling, that whisper, that inner knowing that something needs to shift and change, or that you need to do this particular thing or go in this particular direction, and you try to ignore it, it never goes away. And I feel like that's the message coming in for you. Number two is that feeling is never going to go away. These cracks in the surface are not going to magically disappear. Once they're there, once the call has been heard, it's really hard to get away from it. So you may be experiencing that, where it's like you can't get away from this evolution. It's not necessarily that you want to get away from it. You might not want to run from it, but it can feel a little bit uncomfortable for you. I think that the challenge here is that deep down you know that a part of you really has to be completely destroyed in order for this new version of you to be created. And the idea of destroying everything that you've known and every part of yourself, or many of these aspects that you've identified with, is really scary. For some of you, this is about relationships and about connections in your life. So for some of you, these connections are things that you have known are not right for you, that are not serving you at the highest level, and you've kind of known that for a long time. You've seen the evidence of it. This can also be about certain career choices, or even areas of study, like maybe your major in school. It can be things like this, like where we know that we're not really on the right track with something. Like we kind of have that inkling, like this isn't right. And there's this part of you that wants to step into this role of creator. There's this part of you that wants to use your paintbrush to paint your life the way that you want to see it. I feel like, is that even what's happening here? That hand might be holding a paintbrush or something like that, but it's like you want to create your life the way that you want it to be, but then there are certain aspects that you kind of feel almost like you're too far down that road to turn back. And there's a little bit of resistance, there's hesitance, and when it comes to making these changes and stepping into this role of creator. Gosh, this happens to us so much. This has happened to me so many times, where it's like, okay, you know, maybe you take that job and you like it at first, or you think you're on the right track, and then your values change, your view changes, and you realize how time consuming it is, and how much you want to pour your time into other avenues, and you realize how it's not feeding your soul, and how there's something else that you're more interested in, and something else you would love to pursue. But at the same time, you're like, but I have this job and it's a great job, and well, it might not be a great job, but you know, maybe it supports me, and I'm too far in now to quit, or I'm too far into this major, into my studies. I'm close to getting my degree here. I don't want to turn around now. This can even be about relationships, you know, like a relationship that has kind of run its course, and it's time for you to step away, but there's a little bit of resistance there. And this does not have to be romantic. This can be family members that you have known for a while are toxic for you. This can be friends that you've had that little inkling, like, this person does not have my best interests at heart. And although you would love to be the person that's creating the life the way you want, the job, the family, the friends, the studies, whatever it is that you want, you would love to be that person that can kind of hold that paintbrush and make every little decision. There are certain areas of your life that you're like, that's not really working out the way that I would like for it to, but I don't know if I want to make any change, because I do feel the hesitance here. Now, I also see you moving past this. So you could have already gone through this energy. You're definitely moving past this with the creator and the poet. But what I am seeing here is that there have been indications of this change coming. And that indication can be just like a feeling that you get. It can also be because you look around and you notice that there are things that you want to change, or that there are things that aren't working for you. And that is your first indication of like a change is coming, because once you've noticed that, it's really hard for you to unnotice it. It's really hard for you to keep showing up to a job every day that's sucking the life out of you. That's really difficult to do. And if you never noticed it, then you could blindly just keep showing up every day. But once you know, it's like you really want to implement that change. There is kind of a feeling here that something, at least some areas of your life, like you want to kind of wipe the slate clean and start fresh and start building it from the ground up the way that you want it to be. So this is the major energy that's coming through for you in terms of changes and shifts. And your change and shift is major. It's really big, because I think that these are areas of your life that dominate a lot of your time, a lot of your energy, and places where you really do want to make this change. One thing I want to say is that old and familiar can really give us the illusion of comfort. So maybe it's an old familiar relationship, one you've been in for a long time, or a friendship you've had for a long time, or it could even be like a sibling that, they've always been there. So it's familiar. The way that it goes is familiar. The job is familiar, and you know what to do, and you know when to show up. So it does give us this sense of comfort, but a lot of times it can be a false sense of comfort. Because it's only because we're used to it. But sometimes, just because we're used to something, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good fit for us. It just means that it's comfortable. So we could use the analogy of like some old ratty shoes. Like, if you're going around in shoes that are completely worn out, and like maybe the sole is worn through completely, and your feet are on the bare ground, and there's a part of you that's like, yeah, but I've been wearing these shoes for years, and they're molded to fit my foot exactly, and I'm really used to them. It's easy for me to go and put on this pair of shoes every day because I'm totally used to doing it. But the reality of the situation is a brand new pair of shoes would be more comfortable. Like, even though you're very familiar with those shoes, a brand new pair of shoes that functions properly would be way more comfortable for you. So I think that a lot of the shifting that's going on for you is you realizing that. It's you realizing that some of these areas of your life, and I'm pretty confident that you know what they are because of the Apocalypsis card and the Fault Line card. These are indications of like knowing that these areas have needed to change for a little while. It's just you coming to the realization that you have the power to change this, that you are the ultimate creator, that if something isn't working for you, no matter how big or how small, you can switch things around. You can create a situation that fits you, that fits your lifestyle, that fits your personality a lot better than whatever it is that you have. So some of you might be exploring the idea of a new schedule, a new way to manage your time. It could be as simple as that. Also, new relationships. So some things might need to fall away so that new energy can be brought in. But this is really about you building your life from the ground up and figuring out what works best for you. Kind of following that intuition and those little inklings that tell you when something isn't working, and then making the appropriate changes. I think that the creator card for me is a really fearless kind of energy. It's not just the fact that we tap into like our universal power and our universal connectedness to the greater whole, but it's also that we are fearless enough to take that leap and to implement changes. So that's what's really happening for you, is you're becoming fearless, and you're becoming someone who can dictate what goes on in their life, who can make changes that suit you. So the creator isn't afraid of the void. The void is just sort of that empty space. If we think about like the beginning of all time and creation, if nothing had been created yet, then we were just in a void. We were just in a place of darkness. And then someone, the universe or God, or however you identify with this being or this force, someone had to step up and start creating things out of nothing, start filling that void with something. And that's what this creator card really shows, because you see all of these vibrant colors like kind of bursting forth. But if you look around the edges of this card, this is all darkness. So this is suggesting that all of this came out of that void, came out, sorry, I'm not even holding it where you can see it. All of this vibrancy came out of this void and came out of this darkness. So this is really you. This is you stepping up and not being afraid of that. We can call it like a blank canvas. So I do think that a lot of you are probably pretty creative, and some of this might have to do with your art or some artistic expression. So if that's the case, you'll really get the analogy. Like, you're not afraid anymore of the blank canvas, and you're really stepping into the place of the person that can approach the blank canvas and who can put something beautiful on it. Because a lot of times that blank canvas can scare us away, because it's just like, it can be overwhelming. Just the nothingness of it can be overwhelming. So I can also relate this to like writer's block. I'm sorry if you can hear that. There's like a garbage truck or something outside, so it's making a lot of noise. I apologize. If you imagine like a writer sitting down in front of their computer screen, or maybe sitting down with a blank page of paper and just like staring at it, it can be a daunting experience. And I think that stepping into that creator energy can be daunting sometimes, because you do have to start from nothing. And sometimes you have to clear away the old and really start from ground zero. The beautiful thing is you can create whatever you want. You can write whatever you want on that page, or you can paint whatever you want on that canvas. But the challenging part is, you can create whatever you want. You can write whatever you want on that page, or you can paint whatever you want on that canvas. Like, the possibilities are endless, and that can be overwhelming sometimes. So I think that's why sometimes we don't welcome the change, because the idea that we have to decide what we want it to change into and actually implement some of that change can be overwhelming. But you are stepping into this creator energy big time. And you might have a lot of practice with this, because I am getting a lot of creative vibes from this group. You might have a lot of practice. And if you are a creator of any sort, you can use that energy and those lessons that you've learned to figure out how to manifest change in your life. So if you have faced the blank canvas, the blank page, or the whatever it might be, maybe you make clothing, and so you have stared at the bolts of fabric that had yet to be turned into like a beautiful dress, or whatever it is that you might want to make. You have been in that energy of like turning nothing into something, and that's what's happening inside of you. That's what's changing inside of you, is you're exercising this ability to turn nothing into something. and you're tackling some of these areas of your life that you have known needed to change for a while now. I think that one really important message that's coming through for you is that you don't have to feel ready for this change, and you don't have to feel prepared, and you don't have to have all of the tools and have all of the knowledge before you start this. You have everything that you need right now. The Creator has everything that they need. The Creator reminds me of the Magician in the tarot deck. So the Magician is card 1, and the Magician has all the tools that he needs to succeed, all of the tools that he needs to create anything that he wants in that entire deck. So in a lot of ways, the Magician is the most powerful. Sure, he's starting out at the beginning of the cycle, but because he has the choice and the ability to become any other aspect that's represented in that deck, there's so much potential there, and he can find himself in any position, whether it is viewed positively or negatively. He can find himself in any position in the deck because he's got everything he needs to get there. So that's kind of the energy that you are embodying. You are stepping into your power, and you are, I think, in a lot of ways standing up for yourself, because whether this has to do with other people or if this is just about you, this is about you noticing what is working for you and what isn't, and standing up for yourself enough to create the change that's needed. Just remembering that everything you need is already in your possession. And I think what you really have to keep in mind is, as you continue down this road, as you continue on this journey, you just gain more. You gain more experience, you gain more knowledge, you'll gain the particular tools and materials that you need to do whatever this is. You'll even gain more creativity and more confidence in your ability to create. Yeah, I do get strong artistic vibes from this pile. So there might be something that you really want to express or share. This is kind of the energy of you doing that. This is also the energy of psychic gifts. So there might be a lot of downloads coming to you at this time. There might be a lot of energy in terms of you connecting with your spirituality. And these might be huge changes that you are implementing in your life at this time. So let's jump into the tarot and see what else we can pull out of this, what other messages might come through for you. Okay. What changes are coming for number 2? What changes can number 2 expect? Whoa! That's way too many. I did notice the 3 of Wands, but that was like so many cards, so we won't take all of that. But the 3 of Wands can indicate travel. It can indicate plans coming to fruition. So more of that kind of creator energy coming out with that. We have the 7 of Wands, so more Wands energy. I was picking up on a lot of creativity with this group, so it doesn't surprise me to see a lot of this fiery, passionate energy. Let's see what else. Oh, okay, you have the Naked Heart. So the Naked Heart is a card that is unique to this deck. It's actually an additional card. So a little bit of a bonus card. I love when it comes out because it holds a really special message that you wouldn't find in any tarot deck. So it's always really special to me when I see that card come out. Let's grab one more card for you. We have the Universe. So this is the World in traditional tarot. I don't know why, but I feel compelled to shuffle the deck again. So I don't know why. I just feel guided to do that. So I will do that. we have the Ten of Wands. Okay. We did have Temperance at the bottom of the deck, so I'm pointing that out because Temperance is all about patience, and you might need to implement a little bit of patience when it comes to making all of these changes. You might have to wait a little while for everything to settle down. So yeah, I thought I would just point this out. But I think that sensing this change coming for a long time might have caused a lot of stress in you. And I just have to say that this is really a time for you. This is a time for you to do what's best for you. This is a time for you to start creating things the way that you want them to be. I feel like a lot of what's happening for you is just you stepping into your creative power and you finding your voice in a lot of situations so that you can like let people know what's working for you and what's not working for you, and even letting yourself know what's working for you and what's not working for you, like being really honest about what needs to change. I think you're moving into a space where you're going to honor yourself a lot more, and maybe even stop putting the needs of others first all the time, because I'm really seeing that with this Ten of Wands energy. And again, more wands. So you are a very, very passionate person. And there's a lot that you feel passionate about and a lot of things that you want to implement into your life. I think that with this Ten of Wands, it really tells me that you tend to take on a lot of other people's baggage, a lot of other people's problems. And sometimes you don't fully... like you're not able to fully explore and realize your own dreams because you're too busy helping other people create their dream lives. For some reason, what's coming through for me as I said that is a lot of this might have to do with your work environment, because I was kind of getting that feeling of like you coming to the realization that you're building your boss's dream life and you're not building your own. So of course that can apply to other areas of your life, but this is a feeling that sometimes we can find ourselves in when we realize, like, I spend all of my time working for this person doing this thing, and they're able to realize all of their dreams because of the work that I'm putting in, but my dreams are being left on the back burner. So this is really the energy of you stepping into this place of pouring a lot more of yourself, of your time, of your energy, of your creativity into projects that are going to benefit you directly, into things that are near and dear to your heart, things that you feel passionate about, and not kind of like carrying other people's burdens so much, and not carrying the weight so much. So some of you might be in situations where you feel like you carry the weight in relationships all the time, like you're the one doing all the heavy lifting and all the work. You may even feel like this at your job, or even in your education when you have to work with other people. It's like you're always the one doing all the work, and other people are sometimes reaping all the reward, or if not all the reward, then they're definitely getting like equal credit, and they didn't do equal work. And I think you're starting to see that, and you're starting to see that you need to put yourself first, and you need to make sure that you get the recognition that you deserve, and you need to make sure that the energy that you're expending is going toward building something that you can be proud of, and something that will support you and that you can depend on. I feel like it's the exact opposite energy of what's being depicted here. It's like if all of these wands that are on this camel's back, if they were beneath the camel, maybe providing a strong structure for the camel to stand on, then everything would be reversed. But instead, these things are on the camel's back, and he's bearing the weight of them. It's almost like these wands need to work for him. These wands could be creating you know, a bridge or a platform or something. They could even be built into a wagon or some sort of carriage that you could actually ride in. And so it feels like really putting putting your energy into something that's going to support you, that's going to help you thrive, that's going to help you grow, that's going to give you a leg up, rather than having all of the weight of it on your back all the time and really almost feeling like a slave to it. I feel like a lot of you might feel like a slave to some of your responsibilities. And then that's not really the feeling that you want to implement into your life, that you really would rather feel like it's almost a reciprocal relationship. Like the things you spend your time and energy doing, they also feed you and they provide something for you. So yeah, there's this feeling of like not being drained anymore. I just want to let you know how much potential you have here. Like there is a crazy amount of potential. And I can also say that sometimes people in this world don't want to allow your light to shine as bright as they know it will. If you're given the opportunity. So that's just something to keep in mind with this kind of 10 of Wands energy, this 7 of Wands energy. There could be people in your life that try to suppress this because they know that you're going to create massive change when given the opportunity. They know that you can step outside of the scenario that you might be in and just absolutely thrive. And because they doubt their own ability to do that, they can serve as a negative force trying to prevent you from realizing all of your dreams. So that's just something to keep in mind, because there's so much potential here. There's no way that those around you don't recognize that. So of course, if they're wonderful people that have your best interests at heart, there's no reason for you to worry about that. But if you've had the inkling, and with this pile, I totally get the feeling that you're hella intuitive and you have feelings about this stuff. So if there's someone close to you and you're like, I don't know if they really want the best for me, really give weight to that, because your instincts aren't wrong. And when you sense that something needs to change, you know it. So we also have this Naked Heart card. Like I mentioned, it's a special card in this deck, and this card really talks about calling in everything that you need to stay in alignment and to stay on your path. This is about what the universe is highlighting your gifts and really asking you to trust yourself and to trust your intuition, which I think is a repeated message here. So something that might be changing for you is developing more trust in that intuition. Maybe even getting in touch with your intuition a little bit more. Yeah, this feels like this card is really a sign that when you follow your heart and when you trust your intuition, your true calling will be revealed to you in a really natural and effortless way. And this is also about releasing the tendency to compare ourselves to others, because your calling is uniquely your own. And whether you're like, whatever you're here to create, it's really unique to you. Yeah, so the Naked Heart card is just about following those passions, and using your intuition to let it guide you. Let's see what other messages we can get. We got Birds of a Feather for you, number 25. Let's get another card for you. Oh, wow. Let's take the top one. That was a lot. And we have It Is What It Is. Oh, I think that's a beautiful message for you. A major shift that you could be finding is going on for you is that you could be kind of entering this space where you're finding a lot of like-minded people. So with this creator energy, you might be like entering this creative space where you're able to connect with people who are on the same page as you. I do think that for some of you who are releasing old bonds and old connections that just aren't fitting anymore, this is really beautiful energy, because this is the energy of you kind of welcoming in new connections that are more of a fit for you and people who are more on the same page with you. Let me try to move this over. You can't see your cards. Yeah, so this is really beautiful because if you've been hesitant to kind of let go of some old connections, or maybe just spend a little less time around people who are bringing you down, this is kind of a message that you're going to be finding people who are very uplifting. So not to worry about anything that you might need to leave in the past. I see this as you being on the same page with someone or several people. So this could be about a romantic connection coming into your life, which is always really exciting. And then on the opposite end, we have It Is What It Is, which I kind of love because we were talking about this inkling that you might have. And this card is all about acceptance. I think this speaks to this call that you may have been hearing and maybe not responding to for a while. I think you're going to reach a point where you accept whatever this call has been trying to tell you. So this could be the things that that this call has been trying to tell you about yourself, and maybe some of the avenues that your higher self would like you to venture down. This can be little like nudges and indications that something's not quite right with that job or with that relationship, with that friendship, with the way that you're managing your time. And there's this part of you that's like just gonna come to terms with it so that you can step into the creator energy and make something new. So all of that resistance that I was picking up on is like falling away. This energy of It Is What It is just like, it just feels like a lighter energy. It just feels like, okay, I accept it. If that's not working anymore, then fine, it's not working. And I can make the appropriate changes. I can be the creator of my own life, and I can do what I need to do to fix it. So that's actually really beautiful and encouraging energy. So I actually shuffled some advice for you earlier, and we're going to look at your cards. You had 4 cards come out. Let's see what we have. We have Be Brave, Express Yourself, Angels, I love that, and Let It Go. I think you have a lot of guidance right now. So you have some angels, some guides in your corner. This can be loved ones that have crossed over that are really watching out for you, and they're really helping you to discover these areas of your life that could be improved, these areas of your life that could make you a lot happier if you made these little changes. So whether those are your guides or people that you knew here in the earth realm that have crossed over, you definitely have someone watching out for you and nudging you. So that could have been why you've had these little inklings or these indications, because someone's nudging you in the right direction. And there's this message for you to be really brave about taking the plunge and making some of these changes. I think that because there was a little bit of hesitation to do this, you know, it does require a lot of bravery on your part. This might be about stepping into an unknown place here, but yeah, you're being called to step into that bravery and to do what's right for you. Speak up for yourself. Let that passion be expressed, and let go of some of those old things that are no longer serving you. Put down those 10 wands, because you don't have to carry this around with you. So there are certain things that just need to fall away, and that's going to make room for new, beautiful things to come in. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, letting me read your cards. If you liked this video, if it resonated, don't forget to like it, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button. And hopefully I will see you again really soon in another reading. Bye. Hi, number 3, if you picked the Amazonite heart, this is going to be your reading. We're going to look at what major changes or big shifts are going to be coming into your life. So let's jump right into your oracle cards. I have 4 cards here for you, and these are going to be kind of our indication of what areas of life might be changing for you, or just pointing us in the right direction of how the energies are shifting. So let's see. We have the Vision. Wow. Okay, I'm already picking up on some energy from you. I'm picking up on you guys have a lot of kind of long-term goals, or like you really see what what kind of future you want to create for yourself. So that's really coming through pretty strong right away. I think you're very focused and very targeted when it comes to where you're going in life, and you have some big dreams. We also have the Dead End. We have the Stone. Wow, this is really interesting energy. And we have Kairos. Okay. Wow. The major thing I think that's changing for you is you're developing a lot of trust in the universe. You're developing more trust in your intuition and in your universal connection is what I was going to say, but it all started getting jumbled into one. Just kind of like how you play into the whole is becoming a big thing for you. Like it's becoming a huge shift, and it's something that you're starting to gain a lot more clarity about. I think that you're developing this ability to trust because you started to see how things are lining up and how everything eventually works out for your highest good. So looking at this, I can tell that you have had your share of disappointments. Like, I do think you're a person that has a lot of vision, and you're a person who sets really high expectations and really lofty goals for yourself. And in the process of doing that, like some things might not have worked out. I think it's also really important to point out that a lot of things probably have, but because you have this huge vision, it can be really difficult for you to notice all the things that are going right for you. So this is kind of an indication that you might be changing in that way. You might be starting to notice some of the smaller things that are working in your favor and some of the things that you have been able to create, and not focusing so much on what isn't done yet. I struggle with this myself, so I kind of know this energy. Like if I have a long to-do list and I've checked off like 80% of the things on the list, I will only be focused on the 20% that's not done. Of course, you have to be focused there so you can get it done. But, you know, it's hard for me to say, wow, you did 80% of it. Great job. I'm more like, oh, shoot, I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I did, like, as soon as it's done, I've forgotten that it even needed to be done and that it was an accomplishment. So I think that you may struggle in this same area, and you're really working on this though. Like you are, you're working on giving yourself credit for the things that you have accomplished, and you're working on, I feel like your vision is expanding, but like it's expanding in a really healthy way. Like it's not getting bigger just to make it more unattainable. It's getting more refined so that it's more tailored to you, I think is what I would say. Like it is in some ways bigger because it is a more perfect fit for you as you grow, as you learn, as you change, and you develop new preferences. But it's not unattainable. So I do think your vision is expanding. I am kind of picking up on maybe some kind of psychic ability coming through for you, maybe some sort of like clairvoyance coming through for you. That's just for some, but yeah, I'm definitely picking up on that with this vision card. With the owls, there's like some sort of wisdom that you have access to. And this might be something that's developing newly for you. This could really play into this new intuition that you seem to be tapping into, and this new trust that you're tapping into. And it could be just because you're seeing a lot more clearly and you are tapping into this wisdom. I think that, okay, there's definitely an energy here of some sort of door being closed for you. And I can read this a number of different ways. And I think the reason it might be so confusing is because it's probably true in all of the ways that it's coming through for me. Actually, this kind of like, this image of almost like branches growing over the opening, it's sort of like how confusing this message feels for me right now. It's like it's going in so many different directions. So I think that like you have had doors closed off to you in the past. I also think that as you look back over what has happened, you sometimes realize like why that door was closed, why that didn't work out. Because it never would have worked. Like there's just this it's like hindsight is 2020, which is an odd analogy to come through when we're talking about vision. um I think there's something there. I think there's something here about your sight being so much clearer when you are looking back over your past and what you've been through. So this could be something that is changing for you. There could be areas of your life that you have had a lot of regret about, or that you have wished would have worked out a different way. Like a door was closed and you always held on to the fact that like it should have worked out. That opportunity should have been open to me. But then you're like reaching a point where you can look back and you can see exactly why it didn't. Because hindsight is 2020. You have perfect vision now to look back and to say, you know what, if that had worked, then I wouldn't have this, or I wouldn't be this way, or I never would have met this person. Like you can see how it all worked out. So there is one side of this message that's coming through about things that have been closed off to you in the past. And really the message is those were not doors that you were meant to walk through. And I think you're starting to see that. I think that some of this has to do with, like the advancements that you felt like you should have been making in life, places you thought you should be, or like certain achievements you thought you should have reached by a certain point. I think Spirit is really trying to tell you that if you get in touch with your original vision for some of these things, some of what, yes, okay, I'm trying to decipher this message. I think that what Spirit's trying to let you know is that you had a vision originally. Now, for some of you, this isn't even a vision that you necessarily consciously remember, but this is almost like your life purpose, or something that's of strong meaning and value in your life. So I think that the changes that you're going to be experiencing in the near future have a lot to do with your overall purpose and the progress that you're making in life. So I think what Spirit really wants you to know is that some of these areas that you thought you should advance in, or some of these doors that you thought you should walk through, were not in line with your higher vision or with your original vision when it came to what you wanted to accomplish in this world. And that might be why you can see these things with more clarity. Sometimes we get sucked into the trap of life. We get sucked into the hustle and bustle. We get sucked into wanting to achieve, wanting to be the best. But sometimes that energy can lead us down roads that we were never meant to go and that we didn't want to go. So you could sometimes feel like, oh, I should be further along by now in life. And this is really a message that you're right where you're supposed to be. And if there were opportunities that you missed, those were doors that you were not meant to walk through. They're not in line with your soul's higher vision for the life that you're supposed to be living now. If they had been in line, then the door would have been open to you. And this is about kind of just like being really comfortable in the space that you're in, which I think you are finding a lot of comfort there. Because like we were saying, like I'm picking up on this energy of like trusting more, and just feeling more secure and feeling more at home in your intuitive knowing that you are where you're supposed to be. And I do think that one thing that might be changing for you is that any plan that you had that was not in alignment with your highest good is going to fall away, so that those plans that are in alignment with your original vision can start to unfold. So if you are watching this reading at a time where you may have hit an absolute block or a dead end on something. And this won't be for everyone, because a lot of this could be past energy, but you really could have run up on some kind of stumbling block, and it can make you feel like you want to give up, or like things never work out for you, or like you just don't fit and you don't belong. But the thing about this is, if that has just happened to you, if some door has been closed, this message is coming at the perfect time for you, because it's telling you you absolutely were not meant to walk through that door. And by not walking through it, you are actually way ahead, because if you do start to venture down the wrong path, you inevitably get behind, because you were never supposed to be on that path. So it's about trusting that everything that happens in your life is exactly as it should be. And even if it seems like a door is closed, it's really an opening in another area. It's really more of a deviated path. It's pushing you back in the right direction, is what I'm trying to say. Because this dead end card really talks about doors are opening everywhere, but just not the one you had planned. So I think that there is a need to keep an open mind and to see the blessings that are in the unexpected things that happen in your life. Yes, I actually get a really positive energy from this. Like, this Kairos card is all about divine timing. So this really couldn't be any more perfect. It really talks about the universe kind of stepping in and taking control of some things in your life. So it's a feeling of being in sync. And I think that that's the major feeling that's coming over you at this point, is like you feel like you're in sync. You feel like if that opportunity closed, it's fine because it wasn't meant for me, or you are at the point where you're recognizing the door that opened when that one back there closed. And so it's really important, and there's this trust and there's this feeling of co-creation going on. So you're definitely learning how to work together with the universe. I think that for some of you, in the past, you really haven't felt like you are in sync. You felt like doors were closing all around you. But this energy that's happening here is actually the feeling of doors opening all around you at this point. This is about opportunities coming your way. And if you've been waiting for a particular opening or an opportunity, this is a really good sign that that's coming your way. This could be about a job opening, or like acceptance into a certain school or something for you. Because there's this feeling of absolute divine timing here. So I would say, especially if you have had maybe some disappointments in this exact area and your belief has started to wane a little bit, this is about things totally turning around and working out for you. And then when you look back over it, you can see like, oh, that's why I didn't get that position, or why I didn't get accepted at that point, or something like that, because it wasn't the right time. And now you're working on divine timing. So things are going to be working a lot easier for you and a lot smoother for you. It really does feel effortless to me. It feels like a lot of good fortune and a lot of things lining up exactly the way you need them to. This stone card is really a card of groundedness, and it's about being present. And I think that this is really talking about you being more present in your life and being more connected to your original vision, like being connected to your soul's purpose. I think that like sometimes we can get so in our heads about trying to create the bigger things that we forget to enjoy exactly where we are. And what this feels like is, it's almost like you've taken your hands off the wheel, and the universe is going to step in and start driving the car. And when the universe starts driving the car, everything goes smoothly. And I think that that's kind of what it's like. You're able to actually enjoy your life and stay in touch with your original vision for yourself, because you're not so worried about the things that you can't control, and you're letting the universe kind of do her thing, and it's all working out for you. This is the energy I'm seeing from this. So you might be seeing a lot of shifts and changes in your life that seem to just happen easily and miraculously. This might be a conscious decision that you've made, or it might be something that you just kind of evolved into naturally, but you could have made the decision that like you're going to loosen your grip on things a little bit, and you're going to enjoy your life, and you're going to view everything as a blessing, and kind of let life take you where it wants to for a little while. And that's all while maintaining this really strong vision. So that's actually super cool energy that you're able to do that. You're able to have this bird's eye view and a clear vision for yourself, and you're also able to drop down into the present moment and be present there. I think you're really taking some time to enjoy like all of the little earthly things. This is like back to earth kind of energy, really groundedness, really getting out of your head and just being firm and stable. I like the opposition. I like the opposition of the stone and the vision. Because the stone is really about anchoring our wild side. And I think that the vision card shows that you do have kind of a wild side. You have this dreamer side of you, and that's beautiful, but you can get kind of lost in the clouds sometimes and lost in the stars, and the stone is anchoring you back down to earth and kind of reminding you why you've come here and what you're here to experience. I'm just seeing you moving into this really beautiful space of being very grounded and being very evolved and spiritual at the same time. So yeah, I think that like the shifts that are coming for you are, it feels like more enjoyment of life and all the little things, and then still able to accomplish some of these bigger things at the same time. So there's some kind of ease and effortlessness that's entering your life. I want to see what else we can get from the tarot. Let's see what changes are coming for number 3. Oop, dropping cards. We have the 2 of Pentacles. I love the 2 of Pentacles energy because it's sort of like that balancing act between being really grounded with the stone and then having this crazy big vision at the same time. So it feels like you're kind of able to tap into maybe even a more spiritual side of yourself, and then still be of this world at the same time. So how that's going to be a change for you will be different for everyone, because this might be that you have been extremely spiritual and you want to kind of get back to that groundedness, and it could go the other way too. You've been really grounded in the physical world, maybe a lot of worry, and now you're kind of like releasing all of this to the universe. Let's see. What other changes? Okay. So we have the Sage in reverse, and that is the Hierophant in reverse. And then we have the 5 of Swords. Let's get one more card. Yeah, I sense some internal conflict here with some of this. Okay, so we have the 9 of Cups and the Devil card come out, both in reverse. It's kind of interesting energy here. Let's look at this. So this 2 of Pentacles is really a card that's about a balancing act. It's about giving equal time to all of the parts of our life that kind of need us, and doing an effective juggling act. I'm getting all tongue-tied. Doing an effective juggling act. Apparently that's a tongue twister, so don't try to say that. This shows me that you're making a lot of progress. this means that you're going to feel like you have more control over what's going on in your life, and you're going to feel like you're showing up in all of the areas that you need to. So if you have felt really overwhelmed balancing all of your responsibilities, this shows that one beautiful change that's coming into your life is you're going to find more balance there. You're going to figure out how much time you need to put into X thing to get the result that you want, and still show up for the other stuff too. So some of you might be parents, and you might be working, and you might be trying to care for the home, or you might be a student. So I can see that you have a lot of responsibilities here. And the fact that we had this really strong energy of you kind of releasing some of this burden to the universe and letting the universe take control. And I'm seeing that the universe is opening up some beautiful opportunities to you. I think that's really great energy for you, because if it's been kind of an overwhelming situation, and if juggling all of these different tasks and responsibilities is really hard for you to figure out how to do sometimes, this shows that you're going to be able to reconcile all of that. You're going to be able to find the appropriate time for each thing, like carving out time for everything that you want to do in your life. This might be that you're bringing in some passions, some hobbies. This could also be that you're starting to dream again. I feel like sometimes our dreams get snatched from us, like life gets a hold of them, and we get so bogged down in the mundane, and especially if we've had some opportunities kind of like close off to us, we can get so bogged down in that we stop dreaming. So this could be an indication that you are bringing back that dreamer side of you. You're bringing back that visionary part of you, and you're implementing it into the everyday life that you have established. So there's always some sort of artistic expression in that. So if you are very artistic and you want to implement more time to like pursue some of these passions, or to let your vision kind of flow out of you in whatever kind of creative way that you let it do that, this is an indication that it's coming out of you very easily, and that you're making time for that. I think this is really important with you. Like, your vision is super important to you. It could be the vision that you have for your life, the vision that you have for those that you love. It can also be that you're the type of person that visualizes how you want things to turn out. Like, you might make something, create something, build or construct something, and you have this vision in your mind. And this really gives me the feeling that a lot of these visions that you've had that were kept completely internal are now able to be expressed in the outside world. So this is a big change, and I think a lot of it has to do with time management. This particular Two of Pentacles is shown as like an hourglass. So this really gives me an indication that this could have a lot to do with making time for some of this stuff, and that you will be making the time, or you will somehow find the time. Maybe some kind of responsibilities are clearing up. You might have time off work or off school or something like that that gives you more time to pursue this. But this is about managing your time and letting this part of you come out and be expressed. So I want to talk a little bit about the Sage in reverse. So the Hierophant in reverse. The fact that it is showing up in this reversed position is really an indication to me that you've started to turn inward and listen to your own inner guidance. And I think that a lot of this ability to trust the universe has to do with the ability for you to trust your higher self. This really shows me that you are not in need of outside validation. And if that has been something that's been important to you, you're moving away from that energy. You are starting to make choices that are really fulfilling to you, and you're starting to make choices that make sense for you. Like we were talking about going down certain roads because we think we should, or because it's expected of us. And sometimes doors close along that road, and we can actually feel disappointed. We can actually feel like we failed. But when we look at it and realize that that was never the road that we wanted to go down, it's not a failure at all. So I think that this card showing up in reverse is really showing that you're starting to be able to notice more, like when something isn't for you, like when it's not meant for you, when it's not what you want, when it's not what your soul craves, and not viewing it as a dead end, because it wasn't the road that you wanted to go down in the first place. And I just feel like you're stepping into this really confident place where you know what you want, and that's good enough. You know what kind of life you want to create. You know what your vision is. You're in touch with that vision, and that's actually good enough. No one else has to approve. No one else has to sign off on this. Like, you have the knowledge. You are the one that possesses that wisdom. No one else could possibly have it. So this is really about you being on your own path, on your own journey, maybe even branching out on your own a little bit, because I do have, like, looking at this Five of Swords energy, which can represent a lot of conflict. This can be external conflict. This can be conflict with you and someone in your life, maybe someone who hasn't understood this vision that you've had for your life. But it can also, for me, represent internal conflict. I think that maybe this balancing act that you've been trying to do has been a source of conflict inside of you, because you don't know how much time you want to devote to one thing or the other, or if you can make time to do these things that are really nourishing for you. And I think now you're starting to figure out that you can. But yeah, it could have been a source of conflict for you, even in relationships. You may have felt pressured by some people in your life to show up in certain ways or to fill certain roles. And these are the sometimes the types of things that can feel like a dead end to us, because they feel like, well, that's not really a road I want to go down. But because someone expects us to, we just kind of like fill the role. A lot of times this can happen in family. So this might be about family dynamics for you, and just being expected to always play this certain role. And it's like, now you want to step out. You have a different vision for yourself. So now you want to step out and do what makes you happy. It's so interesting that everything on this side of your reading came out in reverse. So you have the Devil in reverse. You have the Nine of Cups in reverse. The Devil in reverse is really a sign that this is actually really exciting to me, because the Devil in reverse can represent you being on the verge of a breakthrough. And this is really a sign that you are just right on the edge of leveling up in some way. And the thing I like about this is, and some of you may have already entered this energy, but Nine of Cups energy is absolutely beautiful energy. And it's really about getting like everything that you want, getting everything that you've longed for a really long time. And this is showing that you're so close to reaching that place. So huge changes coming in for you is that you're so close to getting to this place that you've been trying to reach for a long time. And the Devil asks really that some of the unhealthy attachments that we have be released. So this can be any unhealthy habit, any habit that isn't serving your highest good. This is about you releasing those things so that you can step into this place of realizing everything that you have been looking to experience in life. I feel like you're heading into this place. Oh, this also is about releasing a lot of fear too. So I want to point that out in case maybe there's a little bit of fear present around your vision. This is about releasing fear. So this could be something you're in the process of doing, or it could be fear that you've released, because if you found yourself maybe acting more in accordance with this vision, it's probably because you let go of some fear that you had of achieving that thing, accomplishing that thing, even trying to. There's probably some form of release when it comes to fear. But I feel like you're heading into this place where you're letting this vision that you've had for yourself actually breathe and actually take on a life of its own. That can bring up a lot of fears, and it can bring up some conflicts inside of you. It can bring up conflicts in your external relationships, but it's a really great sign that you're in the process of making this huge leap forward and of realizing all of these incredible dreams and this incredible vision that you have for yourself. I'm going to grab a few oracle cards for you. These cards, they might be a little bit of advice. They might just help us to see more clearly what's going on here and other changes that you might be experiencing. A strange message is coming through for some of you that you might be receiving a piece of jewelry from someone. Because we're talking about big changes and major shifts, this could be a proposal. It doesn't have to be, but the stone is actually making me think of the stone on like a piece of jewelry. So that could be a big change. It might be that you are accepting new love or a new level of commitment is what I'll say, in some really important relationship. I feel like the vision, like that's really important here, because I think this is something like if you're having an advancement in a relationship of yours, this is actually a vision that you've had for this relationship for a long time. So this is you like finding that vision. Also, I don't know why all this is coming through now. I feel like for some of you, like if this is about a relationship, this could be a relationship that you viewed as a dead end, that you thought there was no hope for, that all hope was lost, and you did have a vision for it, but you didn't think it was going anywhere. This is about that turning around. We have card number 8, Into Me I See. I want to get another one. So I probably don't have any room for another one. I would like to take 2. There we go. We also have a deep breath. Guess I'll just put that there. That's actually card 7. So we had card 7 and card 8 come out, and I kind of like when that happens. It makes it seem like to me like it's a process, like you're learning some process, like you're following the steps that have been laid out for you step by step, and you might not even realize that you're doing it, but it's definitely a sign to me that you're on the right track. It's like first you do step 1, then step 2, then step 3, and you're on step 7 and 8. I think you're well into this process. So with this Into Me I See card, this ties in beautifully because it's about self-discovery and it's about self-acceptance. And this is really another indication that you're moving into a place where you're looking into yourself to find what brings you joy and what makes you happy and what's going to help you realize your vision that you've had for your life. This is really about like this sage being in reverse. You're looking inside yourself for that guidance. You're looking inside yourself for that wisdom, and you're tapping into the vision that you've had for yourself. So really no outside influence is going to have much weight anymore, because you know what's important to you. You know what you came here to experience. So this is really a beautiful card of being tapped into that universal energy. Yeah, I'm back on this 5 of Swords for some reason. So I'm trying to figure out the tie-in. Oh, I think, okay. I feel like there is some significance here to this Five of Swords. And I think what this is the Into Me I See card is also a card about connection. So this is about tapping into your inner self and then potentially connecting with others more deeply. So if there has been conflict that you're waiting to be resolved, this is a really good sign that that conflict will be resolved. And that might be a huge change that you're welcoming into your life, the end of some period of conflict, or maybe a reconciliation of an important relationship that kind of slipped away. Let's talk about a deep breath. This card here, it's really interesting that this card came out because it's actually about trusting the universe as a way to release fear. So we were kind of exploring that idea with the Kairos card, and this might be what is changing in you. It's like as you develop more trust, that fear kind of fades away for you. So I definitely think you're developing that deeper trust in the universe, and you're trusting that things are going to work out in the best way possible for you. And you might not always be able to fall into that energy like very effortlessly, but it's something you're going to be doing more often now. It's like more often you're looking at the brighter side, more often you're seeing like the beauty of a situation. You're imagining that things can go really well for you. You're using your gift of having that vision to imagine things going the way that you want them to go. So let's look at your advice cards. I shuffled these for you before. You got a lot. The other groups, I don't know, they got 2 or 3. I think maybe the last group had 4. I'm not sure, but I just know you have a lot of cards. So let's see what your messages are. You have make a plan. Oh, right over that 2 of Pentacles energy. So this could be about like this idea of time management and like the way that you're going to figure out how to balance all these different things that you want to be achieving in your life is by just making a really clear plan and sticking to it. That could be some really beautiful advice for you. You have simplify. God, I feel like that's right along the same lines. Your guides are coming through pretty strong with these advice cards, and I guess that's why you have so many, because this is seeming like some actual really solid advice for what we are seeing here. We have ego. Fear and ego kind of go hand in hand, so this could be about releasing some of that fear. We have maybe later and self-love. So there's actually, well, there's a lot of messages here. I think that there is a message here for you to really just make things more simple. If it's about like needing to implement different things in your life, you want to explore this creative side of yourself, but you still have to work your 9 to 5 or something like that. This is about planning out how you can bring all these different parts of you together, but it's also about simplifying. And sometimes simplifying means letting some stuff go. Maybe there's some areas of your life that's like you really don't need to pour that much energy into it. Maybe you need to just pare things down to what's the most important to you and start focusing more of it there. Now we have this ego card, and what was really coming up for me is that some of the fear that you may have been experiencing, that you won't realize this vision. This is about kind of letting go of that ego. The ego and fear, just they're so closely linked. If we don't have this strong sense of ego, then we can really release a lot of fear. And I think as you tap into kind of this inner knowing that you have, and just this confidence that you have in yourself, like this is ego in its best form. This is not being egotistical. This is having a good sense of self and not carrying around a lot of fear. I really thought, I think this is interesting that maybe later came up, because it's right over this dead end card, and that just makes me think that it's like there could be things in your life that, like, opportunities that did close off to you, doors that closed. And it's like, this could be an indication that it was just about the timing. It was just about divine timing, as we were talking about with Kairos. And it's like, these opportunities may not have gone away forever. Like the door that closed might not stay closed forever. It might just be that at a different time in your life, this opportunity can just open to you. So That's really beautiful energy, and I'm glad that it came out right over that dead end card, because I do think there might be something in your life that you feel like is a complete dead end, and that might not be true. That it might be that door might open up later. And self-love card, such a beautiful card. I think you're in this place of learning to love yourself. You are reaching into that inner spot for guidance. Into me I see this, the sage coming out in reverse. So yeah, you're definitely going within, and you're learning to love and appreciate yourself. So really beautiful energy. I'm excited for you. There's a lot of changes coming your way. I think there's a lot of balance coming into your life, and I'm excited about it. So I think I'll leave the reading there. If you liked this reading, if you resonated with any of these messages, don't forget to like it, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you feel like it. And hopefully I'll see you again in another reading really soon. Bye! Hi, number 4. If you picked the Veracruz Amethyst, this is going to be your reading. We're going to find out what major changes and big shifts are headed your way. So let's start out with your oracle cards. I have 4 cards here for you, and they're going to kind of just point us in the right direction about what energies are shifting in your life, and maybe what areas of your life are changing. So let's see. We have the Flame. A lot of fire energy. I'm really getting Aries energy from this. You could be an Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius. Somehow this fire energy is important to you in some way. You don't have to be a fire sign, but this is a real indication, especially if maybe your partner or someone who you kind of have your eye on is a fire sign. I'm just already kind of getting messages for that. So that could be an indication that some change in that relationship is headed your way. We also have the Warrior. We have the Siren. This is really fun energy, actually. And we have the Prayer. Okay. Really, the first thing that jumps out to me, especially with that Flame card coming out first, is the passion. So there's a lot of passion here. And I think this has to do with you exploring some passion of yours. For some of you, this is about a romantic relationship. I think this feels like something that's like, you'll know. That's the thing about this. If this is about a romantic connection, this is a connection that felt very intense, very passionate, and had a lot of that fire energy going on right in the beginning. This could also be a relationship that happened during Aries season, maybe during Leo season, or during Sagittarius season. So that would be like in April-ish, like give or take, because obviously the signs kind of overlap in the months. So give or take around April, give or take around August, give or take around November. There's just some kind of fiery energy here. So that could be your energy, their energy, or have something to do with the timing. But if this isn't a romantic connection, it's about something that you feel super passionate about. This also kind of back to like, if this is about a person, this is about a relationship that maybe kind of, what is the word I'm looking for? It's like it faded out. And this is about that flame being reignited. So you'll know if it applies to you, of course. If this is something that you're looking for in your life, then this is a message that you would definitely want to hear. If not, then just kind of disregard it, because this isn't meant to be a romantic reading, but there's a lot of romantic and passionate energy coming through already for this. So yeah, this can be about reigniting a flame, kind of like an old flame, an old spark. So this could be a huge change that's coming into your life in terms of romance. The interesting thing about this flame card is it's not just about reuniting something that's old. It's also about protecting protecting this flame and protecting this passion. So of course this can extend to relationships, but when we just talk in terms of passion and like what we feel passionate about in life, this is about really protecting something that you feel called to and that you feel drawn to. And this message can be interpreted a couple of different ways. This can be an indication that you have been keeping this flame alive, that you've been keeping it burning, that you've been keeping it protected. It can also be a little bit of a nudge from your guides telling you that you need to protect this flame. So that if this is a passion inside of you that you have let kind of like you've let the flame go out, or the flame is almost out, this is a little bit of a nudge to protect that flame and to not let it burn out. I feel sort of like for most of you, this flame has not burned out. It may be something that was forgotten. It may be a flame that's like you could fear that it will burn out, that you'll lose your motivation for this thing, or that you'll lose your inspiration for this thing. But it's like there's this part of you that knows that this flame will never burn out. So I can read that so many different ways. If this is about a romantic connection, this is about a strong connection that like deep inside of you, you know that the two of you will always be connected. You know that there's always going to be a part of you that's tied. And there's always going to be a special place in your heart for this person. This can also have to do with your passions and like your reason for being here. This can have to do with your purpose. And if it's something that you've pushed to the side and maybe that you've had a tendency to do that about, this is really a feeling of like, it will never burn out. This feeling will never go away. This passion will never go away, which is, that can be an encouraging message. And it can also be a frustrating message, because sometimes we feel a passion towards something that we don't feel like we can explore. So we would rather the flame go out so that we don't have to feel this uncomfortable feeling when we can't access the flame. Like we can't do the thing, we can't produce the work that we want to, or whatever it may be. But this is also really encouraging, because it's like if you've had to set this aside because maybe life got too busy, maybe you're raising a family, maybe your job is very demanding, or you are studying something that is taking up a lot of your time and you haven't had the time to to explore this thing. This is kind of an indication that like it's never going to go away. You're not going to lose your passion and your desire for this thing. You're not even going to lose whatever skills you've acquired toward it. Like you can kind of pick up where you left off. It's kind of a message to not worry about that. So this can be a real indication that you are going to have an opportunity in life to start going in the direction of some of these things that you feel really passionate about. And if there's hesitation because you feel like you put it down for so long, you're not sure if you can pick it back up, this is really a message of like, you're fine. It's like riding a bike. If you can ride a bike, I feel like that analogy only works if you can ride a bike, and you kind of only understand it if you ever learned how to ride a bike. But a lot of people have learned, so it's a decent analogy. Like you can not ride a bike for years and years, and then you can just get back on a bike and ride it again, because you've learned the skills associated with it. You've learned the balance, and it's not even about it's not even so much about what you've learned. It's about that you trust yourself. You trust that you know how to ride that bike. So of course you can maintain your balance on it because you trust. So this is kind of a message like you trust yourself to be good at this. You trust yourself to be passionate about it. And that's going to mean that you can really just pick up where you left off when it comes to this thing, this passion. What I do, the funny part is the combination of these cards. So I do want to talk about that. I also, there's so much coming through, and I don't know which direction to go in. This happens often, but sometimes I think I'm picking up on your energy. So maybe there's so many things, there's so many passions, and there's so many directions that life is pulling you in, whether these are things you're passionate about or just obligations that you have. It feels like you're being pulled in a lot of different directions, and like you're not sure which way to go sometimes, but it's like letting this inner flame guide you is kind of the change that's happening within you. You're letting this thing that you feel so passionate and so pulled toward guide you. There is really a message here to stoke that fire. Like, I can't not say it, and I don't know if I have said it yet, but it's like, there's kind of a message like, let this flame grow, let it burn. So I think what's happening is there's a passion kind of rising up in you. It might be a tiny flame right now, or it might be something that's already started to grow into something bigger, but it's like you're really finding your passion and you're allowing it to burn. I'm not sure if I want to talk about the siren card, because I think for like there's a kind of a funny and ironic message coming through if I want to talk about the warrior card. With the warrior, this really feels like something that you may have fought for. It feels like you may have fought to have this in your life, to not lose this, to not let this part of yourself slip away. And it feels like you've done an amazing job. And because we're talking about big changes and shifts that are coming into your life, this might be you stepping into more of this warrior energy and actually doing whatever it takes to make sure that this flame doesn't burn out. If you felt like kind of a victim of circumstance when it comes to this, it's like you're dropping that. So this feels like you taking more control over your life in general and really having that warrior spirit, that fighter spirit, and recognizing that in yourself, because I think it's something that you don't see. You're starting to recognize that you are such a fighter, and that when you're passionate about something, when you believe in something, you will fight for it. What I think is kind of funny about the combination of these cards is the siren and the flame. So this feels to me like a passion that just cannot be ignored. It feels like something that maybe you tried to ignore, maybe you tried to like kind of squash that flame a little bit, but it's like you're drawn to this. Whether this is a person or a personal passion of yours, you're drawn to this thing, and you like there's no denying it. It catches you off guard. It pulls you in, and you always find yourself back there, like back at this place, you know. I've had this happen to me in several like areas of my life where it's like I try to put something away, put it down, and I just always end up back there. And then the feeling that I have when I arrive back at the same place is, well, if I still care so much about this thing, if I still feel passionate about this thing, then I probably should have been pursuing it the entire time. Because if I had been pursuing this the entire time, I would be a lot farther down on my journey with this than I am right now. So like this happens really often where it's like we show up at the same place and we think, well, if I had been working on this for the past year, then I would be like in a much better position, right? So you might be rediscovering a lot of passions. There might be things that it's like maybe life got the best of you, maybe the responsibilities and the daily grind got the best of you, or it could be something that you tried to deny in yourself, and that's the reason that you haven't been working on this thing, or you haven't been exploring this thing. But I think that you may have had this feeling of, if I had been practicing my skills when it comes to this thing, then I would be a lot better now. And if I'm going to keep feeling passionately towards this, then I probably should pursue it a little bit more. So this is like the thing that's changing in you. I think that for a lot of you, you're finally making the decision to actually pursue this. So let's say it's like a foreign language or something. There's a language you've always wanted to learn, and you know, maybe you've studied, maybe you had books, or you had like audio, I want to say audio tapes, but that is old. Like, does anyone wow, I sound old. like whatever, a program that you bought. Like, I don't know what to call it. A program that you bought to help you learn the language. And maybe you study sometimes and then you like put the thing away and forget all about it for a year. And that could happen because it's like life is too busy. I don't have time to do this. And you know, whatever, you kind of like put your books away in a closet. And then that same desire comes up a year later where you're like, oh, I wish I had learned that language, or like, I wish I had learned more or studied more because now I feel like I forgot some of what I had learned. And you realize that like this passion isn't going to go away. This desire to learn this thing or to have this thing or to have this connection with this person is not going to go away. It just keeps coming back. You know, like this flame just keeps being reignited. It won't go out as much as you might try to blow it out, or as much as life circumstances try to blow it out. It won't blow it out. And if you, like, continuing with this example, if you did keep working on learning this language for, you know, for that year, if you worked on it every day or a few days a week or whatever for that year, maybe you're not fluent. Maybe life didn't allow enough time for you to be fluent, but you know a lot more than you would, and you can be at a place where you feel like you've achieved something there. So really that can apply to anything. I'm just using that example, but it's like, you know, maybe you're an artist and like you didn't paint for a period of time, or you didn't sculpt something for a period of time, and like your skills would have only grown if you had explored it for that year or for the 2 years that you weren't exploring it. Your skills would have grown, your portfolio would have grown, everything would have grown if you had devoted yourself to it. So this passion is really making me think that this is something that you can't get away from. The siren is something that like draws us in. It's seductive in some way, and you cannot get away from it. You might try, life might try, but you're always brought back to that same place. So that's definitely a message for somebody, that you're really being pulled in. You're being pulled in to this thing, and you can't get away from it. The fact that the prayer card is here too, I think this is definitely a long-standing issue with you, or at least something you really, really care a lot about, because there is kind of the feeling that there's been a lot of prayer about this, or there's been a lot of asking for guidance when it comes to this, or asking for the time, or asking for circumstances to line up in the right way that this can be pursued, or that this could work out. Overall, what I see here is there's really a message for you to answer the call. And I think what's changing the most for you here is that you're going to start answering that call. You're going to stop ignoring. It's almost like this passion, this thing on your mind is like calling you nonstop, like blowing your phone up, and you just turn your phone on silent or, you know, ignore the call, listen to the message later, don't deal with it, that kind of thing. And it's like, you're getting to the point where you want to pick up the phone and you want to have the conversation and you want to explore the thing, whatever it may be. So yeah, it's like you are powerless. You're powerless to resist this. So you may as well pursue this because it really lights you up. It's really a passion of yours. So what I'm seeing here is a lot of emotional shifts for you, mainly emotional shifts. And this is about following your passion. For some reason, there's a message about money coming through here. So there's kind of a message that you're not the type of person that lets money drive you necessarily, but that you do, of course, have the desire to be stable, like to be financially secure. And there's kind of a message that following your passion is going to bring that security and that stability to you. So it's like doing what you love and the money will follow type of thing. That might have been a concern for somebody, because I'm not really sure why that's presenting itself here, but it might have been a concern for you. Like maybe you're spending your time doing things that you know are a sure bet, and it's like your passion is actually a sure bet too, because you're going to pursue it more fiercely than anything else. So it's actually capable of producing a lot of abundance for you. That was kind of random. There's also a really, really sensual energy coming through here with the siren and the flame. This is giving me really like sacral chakra vibes. So, This can have to do, of course, with romance and passion. It can also have to do with you finding new ways to like explore your body or move your body. So this might be like movement through dance, maybe developing a yoga practice or some kind of other exercise. You might just be entering a period of life where you're making a point to be more active, because there really is kind of like this, there's a lot of attention toward your passion, your movement, your creativity, and your sensuality here. So there's a lot of shifts and changes in those areas. Yeah. This can also be about developing a lot more appreciation for your body. So this can be about your body image, or it can be about the health of your body. You might be moving into a place of finding new and abundant health, and you're really appreciating your body because you're seeing all the ways that it supports you, all of what it allows you to do. Like, you know, your body's your vessel, and it's allowing you to experience all of the beauty and the wonder in this world. And especially if you've had health issues, this is something that I think you develop more appreciation for, because you know what it's like to be in that unhealthy place where you're not able to experience life the way that you want. So a major shift that could be coming for some of you is experiencing really vital health. You're feeling more vibrant, you're feeling more alive, and that kind of takes me back to the flame. So yeah, it's like you're really you're lit up, and it's almost like you're just glowing and exuding this energy. I think overall you're feeling more attractive. And I also think that this siren energy can be read as, like, we were talking about this passion that you can't escape and that really draws you in. I feel like this is working both ways, and you are that thing that's really drawing people in. So I think you're going to be finding that there's just an attractiveness about you, that people are really drawn to you. You might be getting like more attention from people who are interested in romantic connection with you, and people really trying to pursue you, because I think that there's kind of this energy of like, you're irresistible at this time. Like, you're stepping into a place of being irresistible. So it's almost like you're stepping into the place of being the siren, which is, I think it's going to be fun for you. I was saying at the beginning, like, there was something kind of fun energy coming off of these cards for the beginning of your reading. And yeah, I think you're having a lot of fun with this and just kind of exploring some new things. So let's look at the tarot and see what other messages are coming through. I really want to reiterate that there is this feeling of your prayers being answered, and I love that energy. If there's something that's been going on in your life that you feel like you've had to kind of wait for, hold out for, express and exude that warrior energy, because I think you've got a fighter in you. Like, you'll stick with it. But this feels like the universe kind of really backing you up on this. So that's really great energy. To have the force of the universe behind you is just really encouraging energy. We have the Eight of Cups. Oh my gosh, there it is. There it is. I think there is some kind of passion that you walked away from. Let's see, what other changes for number 4? Ooh. Okay, we had 2 cards flip. We have the Moon, and we have the Spirit of Cups. That's the King of Cups. And we're going to get one more card. The Four of Swords. Okay. This Eight of Cups really does provide more clarity, because it really shows that you have walked away from something, something that you felt really passionate about. So you had to leave something behind. So this really could be an indication of something being rekindled inside of you, whether this involves another person or just a passion inside of you. This is about something that you did step away from, and really there's an energy of you being pulled back to it. Yeah, this feels like a creative pursuit for a lot of you. What I'm seeing here is that this flame never really went out when you walked away. The desire never left. Even if this flame is teeny tiny at this point, it's still there. It still exists. And some part of you has been protecting this the entire time, whether you were aware of it or not. Some part of you has been stepping into this warrior energy and keeping that flame burning, keeping it alive. I think that there's really a part of you that never wanted the flame to go out. So it will vary depending on your situation, whether you know this about yourself or not. You could be very well aware that you didn't want this flame to go out. And for others of you, there might be kind of a sense that you thought that you could effectively walk away from this and you thought you'd be okay with it, with the flame going out, but it just, you're not okay with it. Like, as it turns out, you're not okay with it, and you're seeing that you're always going to be pulled back to this place. I feel like there's an element of a really difficult decision here. Yeah. Because it's like with the Eight of Cups, a lot of times there's something that wasn't working out, or something that wasn't fulfilling. And we wish it could have worked out better, but in the end we had to walk away from it. So there is kind of a feeling that like you had to make the decision to walk away from this, whether that's because of time constraints or because life changed in a certain way that just didn't allow for this, or it's a relationship that was just really hitting a rough patch. But it's like it wasn't easy for you to walk away from this thing. It feels like you might have felt like you didn't have any choice at some point. But what I'm really seeing for you is that this flame is being reignited and transforming into a full-blown blazing fire at this stage. So you're really moving into this place where this flame is allowed to breathe. It's allowed to get air and to grow, to multiply. I think that there really is this call toward something that you can't seem to resist, like that it feels like where your ultimate fulfillment lies. I feel like if you are a creative person, which all signs point to you being very, very creative, I think that you're entering a period where you're going to be overflowing and just bursting with new creative energy. If you've been in sort of a creative slump, this is going to change. And it may even be a new form of creative expression that you are finding and exploring at this time. Yeah, I feel like this is so exciting for you, because I feel like you're going to finally be able to tap into something and really put your energy towards something that may have been kind of on the back burner for a while. Interesting choice of words when we're talking about the flame. Yeah, I see you asking for a lot of guidance with this Four of Swords. It's like you've gone within and you really thought about this, and it might be something that's recurring for you. It might be that every time you find yourself in this place of wanting to explore this thing again, or of missing this particular passion of yours, it's like you find yourself in this place of rest and of contemplation and of prayer and meditation about it. And your prayers are being answered here, but this is also an indication that if you feel this way about this thing, if you feel so passionate about it, if you're always finding yourself in this place of rest and contemplation around this, that it really is very important to you. It is very near and dear to your heart, and the passion for this is not going to go away. Let's look at a couple more oracle cards for you. And we'll see. I mean, this part of the reading is really open, so it could be advice, or it could just give us a little bit more insight into kind of what we've already seen here. Let's see. Okay, I had one card jump out into my lap, so Let's see if I can get another. Okay. And then, oh, I had 2 cards jump out into my lap. Okay, so we have the Uncharted Sea, and then we had In Perfect Harmony and Seeing Beyond. Okay, I think this In Perfect Harmony card is really interesting because we've been talking about the siren, which is always kind of like a musical reference to me because like the siren's voice being so beautiful that like it draws everyone in. So there could be some kind of musical exploration that's significant to you. Playing some sort of instrument or singing or something like that might be significant to you. So that's interesting that that came out. Another way that I can read this In Perfect Harmony card, because in this pile we've been talking a lot about romantic connection, which was a little bit unexpected for me, but it really does seem like some kind of romance or passion might be coming into your life. So this can be about finding a divine partner that just seems to flow with you effortlessly, where everything seems to work so easily, and the two of you are really, you're like the notes of a beautiful song. Like you are in perfect harmony, like the card says. You are really complementary to each other. Yeah, so really there's a strong indication of that. This is card 11 too, so really important number here. This is card 36, reducing to a 9. There is some form of like completion here. We have 46 here, 36 here. So this kind of adding up to a 10, which would, you know, 10s are like completion, but also it reduces down to a 1. So completing one cycle, starting out on a new cycle. This Uncharted Sea is like, I feel like for a lot of you, you might be venturing into unfamiliar territory here, or at least something that feels unfamiliar, and it could be because it's something you haven't done in a long time. So it might feel like you've never done this before, or like you've never done this in this way before, and that can be a little bit scary. I think for some of you, and for some reason, this feels like it is familiar to you. So it's either because this is something you've done before, or something that just feels so in alignment with you that it's going to feel very familiar when you start doing it again, or when you start doing it for the first time. Yeah, I think it's different for all of you. It might be something that you've never pursued, and it might be something that you did pursue in the past. So that'll just depend on what's going on with you. But what I love about all of these cards that came out, like the Seeing Beyond card, it really talks about the ability to see all of the possibilities. You're moving to a place of being able to see beyond what's obvious and what's right in front of your eyes, and you're seeing the deeper meaning and the deeper purpose that's behind all of that. So this card also talks a lot about getting out of your own way. You might have found that some of this is about internal fears and hangups, and you're able to get to a place where you can get out of your own way and allow this to really bloom, and allow yourself to produce whatever this is that you want to produce in your life. There might have been something that held you back from letting this flame grow, or something that was all-consuming in a way, that made it feel like this particular part of you could not grow. But you're moving into more of the energy of being able to take charge of all of that, and to see solutions where you might not have seen them before. So this might be about new ways of doing things, new ways to explore this passion, and maybe answering old questions that you had about this. This might be like you never could figure out how to do it before, how to make it work before, and now suddenly the answers are clear to you. So take all of that as it resonates. So to wrap up this reading, we have some advice cards I pulled for you before. You have 3 cards here, so let's see what we have. We have patience. Yeah, a little bit of a call to be patient, to be understanding with yourself. I think that for a lot of you, you've already done the patient part. With this Four of Swords energy and the prayer energy, I think you have been, you've been plenty patient. So I think that's what is kind of driving you to this place. It's like you're arriving at this place because you were able to be this warrior, and you were able to kind of keep your eye on the prize, keep that flame alive even when it seemed like there was no hope for it. We also have connect. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think a lot of you, this is a romantic connection. This is also about connecting to your inner self, your inner guidance, and free yourself. Yeah. Freeing yourself in this context really makes me think about freeing that flame. It's like letting this flame just blaze into a full-blown fire. I want to say wildfire, but it doesn't have to be a wildfire. It doesn't have to be out of control. But it's like, it just is, it's feeling a little bit like you kept yourself in this cage because there were restrictions for one reason or another. And this is really about breaking out of that and really exploring this, like exploring every part of this, every nook and cranny, like letting this flame grow, stoking this fire is what it feels like to me. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and letting me read your cards. If this reading resonated with you, don't forget to like the video, comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you feel like it. And I will hopefully see you again really soon in another reading. Bye.